Hello there. How you doing? Anybody out there? Sorry about the miscommunication. We had put in the event that we'd be starting at 7:30.
What are you trying to do?
I'm trying to get you more in the picture.
Okay, so then it needs to go towards me. Backwards.
Mhm.
You're looking at the reverse image.
So we always done it at 7:30. We weren't doing it earlier, so there's a mix up there. Sorry.
Yep.
Can anybody hear us out there? There's
Yeah, we
four
have
of you
four
on,
in.
so let us know if you can hear us. The video is okay.
Or I guess rather let us know if you have a problem.
No. I'd like to know that they're there and they hear us.
If there's 5 of them, then they're obviously there. 7 now.
They could never. None of us could be heroes.
I'm pretty sure they can hear us. Something's telling me they can hear us.
Alrighty, you bringing up the questions?
I will be. I'm working on it right now. Why don't you give them?
So I hope everybody had a good 4th of July. There it is in Las Vegas.
Yeah,
Yeah, good to hear you. Thanks.
Yeah, satisfied?
Everybody, I hope everybody had a good 4th of July.
Why don't you tell them why you are doing this a week early? 2.
Why am I doing this week right now? Oh, no.
Yes.
Because of the presentation stuff that we've done that? Why?
Because you've got one of these.
Oh. Nice. We're doing this a week earlier than we normally do. We usually do it on the 2nd and 4th week, but we're doing it this week because next week's my anniversary.
There you go.
Now I'm taking my sweetie out. We're going to go disappear for a couple days.
It's a good thing I reminded him. He seems to have forgotten.
No, I knew it was happening. I just didn't know if I needed to tell everybody about it.
Why not? Let him participate in your life.
Yeah. So I bet you we were, I don't know, I bet you Tempe, Arizona was hotter, but this 4th of July is pretty hot. We were 101, I think it was, in some parts of Provo area. Tempe, I'm sure it was pretty warm. My daughter's down in Las Vegas now. She said it was pretty hot.
Yeah. It's been a warm spell right now.
But anyway, we didn't get to go see the parade. Unfortunately, we had some sicknesses in the house, but we did get to relax a little bit and do a little barbecue in the backyard.
Yep.
And have that, which was nice. And look at some fireworks out the window from the neighbors or something.
Right.
So,
Live vicariously through others.
Yeah.
Okay.
So let's go ahead.
All right. So Bob asked.
Wait, hold it. I was going to answer a question go to the Facebook, and there was a Facebook question that someone posted. I thought it was really quick. I just thought I'd answer it.
Can you give me a little more information than that?
No, just go to the post at the beginning, the top of the page. It was, she was asking about.
At the top of the page?
Yeah, keep going. To where people first post. The top of stuff is mine. Oh, too far.
Too far.
Right there. All right.
That was 5 weeks ago.
Right here? This one was there?
That's 5 weeks ago.
Oh, okay. All right, give me the question.
Okay. All right. So Bob asks, after others have really messed up a family and we've done everything we can to clean it up, we end up with the ancestor back in place in the pedigree, and if we're lucky, the person will have temple work attached, even though the temple dates are not the oldest official dates anymore. Should we really be concerned, or should we just let things ride since done is done, and as long as official ordinances are attached, the work is done?
It depends on your particular desires. If there were other dates on there and you're sure those dates were there, then just contact support and say, these were the dates I had and those dates aren't showing, and they'll go look to see if they can find those ordinances. But merging and unmerging shouldn't mess around with that. If those dates were there before the merge and then you unmerge or do that stuff, then the dates should remain. Those should be the ones that were there. Because an unmerge or a restore to take things out will always take the ordinances away. So those ordinances should be back to what they were if you've cleaned everything up. So, and haven't merged with other people. So if you want, whoever wrote that to me, Bob, if you want to send me a personal email with a PID on that particular person and what you think they should have been, I'll take a little quick peek and see if it's something we need to involve the sport folks.
Okay.
All right.
Holly asks a rather in-deep question here. So
okay, I'll focus.
I need your feedback on my concern with memories. I know you've discussed memories in the past, but I'm struggling with FamilySearch family history workers and how they say to feel safe adding any type of memories on a living person because the living are protected. What they fail to teach the public is that the second you put those memories on the living into the gallery albums and you have a deceased family member in that same album as the living, then the entire world has access to that album. For instance, I create my album by surname, so I have a lot of deceased ancestors with the last name Scott. Well, that's also my maiden name, so if I add all my deceased Scott ancestors to the folder, but I also add my own personal pictures and documents on myself, such as my birth certificate or marriage documents about myself. Once I put those things into that album, anyone has access to my personal documents. For example, another one, let's just say you're looking at my grandfather's picture. On the right hand, you see I added his picture to an album labeled Scott. You can click on that album and it'll take you directly to my entire Scott album that I have both living and dead in. So understand why family history or family search employees are encouraging people to feel safe adding those private documents on the living when they are truly available to the world and Google.
I don't know why they're saying that either, because I've said do not upload personal documents that you don't want everybody to see. Because memories, and it doesn't matter, by the way, whether it's about living or not living. Let me see here. It doesn't matter what it is. All memories are available to be seen. They don't have to be an album, for instance. You can just upload them to your gallery, and anybody can search and find them if you put in a title and a description and stuff like that. And so I've always discouraged people from uploading birth certificates and marriage certificates and stuff until we have the ability to have private memories. There's no such private memories today. All memories are open, and we tell you that when you log in. We tell you that when you upload your first memory, that they're not private. Even if you put them on a private person and you're living, it doesn't matter. The memories are still public. And so don't do that. I recommend, if you're concerned about it, remove those memories from the gallery, from your system, from our system, until we have our private areas that you can then make them non-public. Now, I will tell you, if you have a picture and some of the people in the picture are dead and some of the people in the picture are living, this is what happened. If you tag people in the picture, and when they're all the tags are dead, then then we show all tags. If the picture has dead and living, you can go ahead and tag the dead and you can tag the living. Then what happens then is the living, or the dead, excuse me, where's my eraser? Dang it. I put it way over there because I never figured to make a mistake. So if there's mixed dead and living and you have tags on both of them, that's perfectly fine. You attach, remember the way we know that somebody's living is who you've attached the tag to. If the tag's not hooked to anybody, then we assume that it's a living tag. And then if it's just living, all living in this picture, you can go ahead and tag them, but no tags are shown. So that's the only real protection you have on some of these things. So that's why certificates won't work. So if everybody in the picture that you've tagged is dead, then it's searchable and we'll show all the tags. That's what that's supposed to say. Get your Urim and Thummim out. If there's dead and living both in the picture and you tagged both, then if it's not you, we're only going to show the dead. Okay, we'll only show the dead tags to other people. That helps not expose. That helps not exposing the living pictures, so somebody can spot them or something. And if everybody is living, then we're not going to show any tags to anybody. Okay. You'll see the tags because you put it in, but nobody else will see those tags. Okay. But all memories are public at this time. They all can be seen, and it doesn't matter whether they're in an album or not. The album just makes it easier for them to see because you share the album, and when you share the album with your family, then they have a link to the album, so they see everything. But people you don't share it with could still find that birth certificate. Okay.
Okay. Richard asks, when you access a restricted image, is it okay to add that image to memories?
Well, usually so he's asking when you find a restricted image.
You access a restricted image, is it okay to add it to memories?
Yeah, so you have a restricted image because you went and browsed it around and you found it, or it's an image that has a associated record, extracted record. Go ahead and attach it, and yeah, you can put that image inside of a
memory.
I don't know why you need to put it in memories because it's already on FamilySearch.
Right.
So you could just make a source out of it and put it on your person.
Maybe put it in like your source box.
Yeah, you go create a source and make the URL be, like if you're looking at restricted, if you're looking at images, you click a little button over on the right hand side that says make a source out of this, add to source box, and then attach that to someplace. I don't know why you need to download it and then re-upload it because we're not going to get rid of it. If you're nervous about it, sure, go ahead and do that. And that's fine because once you attach it, then everybody will see it. Whether it's, right now some restricted images, they haven't finished the code, but the rule is if they get attached to a person, then everybody in the tree can see it. Right now it's not complete. So if you attach these, they can see the index, but they can't see the image. Seeing the restricted image is coming. And if you attach the index reference like through SourceLinker or something, that image will be visible in the future as we finish out that code.
Okay.
All right.
Maureen asks, by the way, Kathy said it was 115 in Tempe.
Oh my gosh, 115. Yeah. That is hot.
Maureen says, we found files of old copies of wills, documents from a previous family history librarian. She probably passed away 10 or 15 years ago. There are 3 file drawers filled with all kinds of family history information. No names that any of our ward members recognize. Any suggestions of what we could possibly do with this paperwork?
Yeah, you could donate it to the library. I think they'll take it if whoever this is.
Well, they found it in a family history library.
I understand. Yeah, but why do they have it? They just stole it from the library?
No, I don't think they stole. I think it was a new family history librarian came in and found this 3 drawers full of documents that don't have anybody in the ward associated to it, and they want to share it with people. So what do you do about sharing that?
Well, whoever this was, who was it?
Maureen.
You'll need to send me an email to ron@familysearch.org with this information. You send this to me too. And then I'll get you in touch with the person that accepts books and all other sort of documents. Yeah, and let me know if you're a family history consultant or family history work in the family history library that you're talking about, because there may be a mechanism through that. But I think there's a way for you to send it to a particular place, and we'll scan them in and things like that, and we can keep them.
All right. Elaine says, I've reserved temple work August 2017 for numerous direct line ancestors. I'm just getting around to do it and see. Wait, she asked this question twice now.
She probably didn't think it got typed in or something.
Well, I remember it's a person, she reserved this work, and then someone else printed it. I have the cards printed. Should I go ahead and do the work? But then the other person might redo it all. Remember that question from last week? I
have it in my email box. I looked at it today.
I believe we answered this question before, Elaine, last week. I think it might have been a duplicate question.
Yeah.
But it's a simple solution. And so view our video from last week. Ron, you said you had an email in your inbox for that.
Well, if there's if you printed out the cards and then somebody else merged somebody else on there.
No, they're saying that she had reserved work. She's just over a year ago, and she's just getting around to do it. But someone else has already reserved it and printed it. Right?
How did they reserve it if she reserved it? So that's the thing that's confusing to me.
Yeah.
If you've already reserved it, then the only way anybody else could reserve it is if they had made a duplicate and then did not merge them, right, and then reserved it. So I go ahead and merge them, and then go to the temple. Your cards are perfectly fine. You get your ordinances done. They'll show up on the person.
That's right.
When the other person, if you do it before they do, then your dates will show up. If they do it before you do, their dates will show up. because it's the earliest one that wins. You might want to contact them about, hey, why didn't you check for duplicates? That might be nice too.
Yeah.
Okay.
Shelley says, during the last Q&A session, you mentioned putting a limit on the number we have in our temple list. It's a two-parter. Does this limit refer to the number of ordinances reserved or to the number of people we have reserved? What will happen to our reserve list if we have more than the number reserved?
Yeah. So last time I talked a little bit about some of the changes we're planning to do for the ordinances and how they work. And one of the things is there's going to be a limit on the number of people you can reserve. And this is mostly to help spread it around so more people have more opportunities to do temple work.
Right.
Because a lot of people have lines that they go around and they're all gone, and a lot of them are already shared with the temple and they can't get them and things like that. So we're going to allow people to take them off the temple list, put them on their list, go do them. But we're going to limit the amount you can have at a single time. And we're still struggling with exactly how to count that. It's not going to be by ordinance, but it's probably going to be by person or row across the thing. So I want the numbers to work out. So when you look at your temple list and you see a count over in the top left-hand corner, I want that count to alert you as to whether you're running low or getting high, right? I want you to be able to look there and say, am I at the limit or not? And then if when we do this, you have more than the limit, we're not going to do anything. We're just going to leave what you have there. And when you get below, then you won't be able to reserve anymore until you go below the limit, and then you'll be able to start reserving again. So remember, the people you share with the temple don't count against you. So I just don't think we should do it by ordinances because we could, I guess, because that would mean people who get a whole person, BCIE, would get fewer people they could take, and those who just got a B and they got just the baptism for a bunch of people, then I don't know. Give me your comments and thoughts about that, whether it should be by ordinance or by lines or by people, by ancestors. It comes out differently. So if I do it by ancestors, I have to assume that every ancestor has BCIE, right?
Yeah.
So maybe you only have, let's say, this is not going to be the number, but let's say you only have 10 in your reservation list. Then if you've got 10 people, you may only have 10 ordinances there because each one has one. If you go by ordinances, then
each person has at least 3.
Then each person can have as much as
5.
BCIE 4 plus sealing the parents 5. Then you got sealing the spouses
6.
So
then you burn through your list real quick.
Well, it means that we'd have to change our count.
Right.
So if we say 10, we couldn't say 10 ordinances. We couldn't say 10 people. I was just gonna do it simple, 10 people, and if they happen to have more ordinances, then you got more ordinances than somebody else. Sorry, was it bugging people?
Yeah. Could you please stop playing with whiteboard markers? They're very loud on the microphone.
Oh, I got a good microphone. Hey, don't put it too far away.
I'm gonna keep.
I just set them down. Right
okay,
here.
well then put them down.
I don't know, man.
Don't fiddle with them.
I'm usually pretty good.
I promise, Sharon. I'm trying my best to keep him under control here.
I'm usually pretty good.
He's a fiddler. What can I say? He likes to
I could
fiddle
go like this.
chatting.
I could do one.
Just be careful.
Yeah.
Don't be making noise.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, Shelley. So hopefully that answers your questions. If it doesn't, you can always provide maybe some more specific questions in an email to Ron. Rebecca asks, are there any plans to be able to combine or delete memories when there are multiple entries of the same picture? I think I can answer this one.
Wow.
I think everybody has the intention and desire to make it not duplicate. But the problem is that, if a picture is the same picture in our eyes, but is 3 pixels to the right or left or something like that. So let's say he and I are both taking a picture of what's in front of us right now. It's technically the same picture to a human being's eye, but to a computer, it's 2 different pictures because he's, a foot to this perspective, and I'm a foot to that perspective. Right. So it's hard for computers to be able to differentiate among the multiple duplicates. And I think that you've already mentioned that in the future you have plans to make it so you can edit memories and take things in and out and stuff like that.
You can already detach memories that are duplicates. So if you're on a person page and you look at the memories tab and there's 3 copies of the same exact picture, you can just detach them. You can already do that today.
So I think that would be the best solution for the problem.
You shouldn't be able to upload the same picture, meaning this actual
literal same file.
Yeah, you shouldn't be able to upload it. And then I've had people contact me where they're frustrated because they tried to upload it and wouldn't let them. And it's because you already uploaded that memory.
Right.
And so we catch that part. But Jarrett's right. If two people take two pictures of the same thing, they're standing at the same event, they are two different pictures. And computer-wise and bit pixel-wise, they're very different.
Right.
So they, to the computer, look like two different pictures.
Yep. Okay. Kathy says, when completing a merge of duplicate records, what information do you want to see and the reason for the merge block? I think we've talked about this one before. I think the answer is whatever you feel is the reason for you to make the merge. And that's a decision that's very personal. Are you merging them because they were your grandmother and you know them?
Yeah.
Are you merging them because the information matches? Are you merging them because based on everything you can see, your sources sell you this?
Well,
you
I
did the
think
research for
most
it?
people just either leave it blank, which is not a good idea,
Right.
or they just say, it's a duplicate. Well, of course you merged it because it was a duplicate. That's why you did it.
Right.
So it's usually more valuable to put a little more information, like had the same name, the same spouses, and the same
Right.
place with the same dates. So, and children were in the proper order. So then it was a duplicate and I merged them. I'm merging the family or something. That's better than just saying, they were the same. But we get lazy because we're trying to do stuff and we get tired of just typing stuff. So if some people do, they'll type up a nice little paragraph that talks about why they did the merge and it's pretty generic. And then, save it away in a file and then copy and paste it in and then add a few little details to it.
Sure.
That's one way. Okay.
Keith asks, is there any way to generate an alphabetical list of birthplaces, death places, residents, etc. of my ancestors? I ask because my kids travel a lot and always want to know if they're traveling to an ancestral location.
No, there is not any way that I'm aware of. They recently tried to do a calendar thing a month or so ago where we give you all the birth dates and stuff of people. But it is something we're thinking about for the mobile app. To sort of alert you when you're close by a burial place or a birthplace or something like that. But there isn't a way to I don't know what that would mean.
I think he's just looking for a way.
No, I understand, but you'd only be able to go up a few generations and down.
Just too much data.
Because if you want to, generate the alphabetical birthplaces of my ancestors, well, we just did analysis of the biggest tree in the family tree, I think the biggest single tree, and it was 430 million. So that would be a long list. So you'd have to, we'd have to narrow that down to so many generations up and so many generations
You heard
down.
about this app? Pat said use the
Family Nexus iOS app. Oh, I'm not familiar with that one.
The Family Nexus.
But Pat would know. Well, it's a mapping app, so you can see the maps.
Right.
The mobile has a map my ancestors, but it doesn't. I don't think it sticks to your GPS.
Jesse said that map my ancestors.
Yeah. It doesn't. I don't think it has like your GPS location.
It can't.
Although that might be interesting to see if we can stick your GPS location on that map.
I can imagine that would be that hard to just add that.
I'm gonna go send myself an email
Look
about
at
that one.
Look at you guys just giving him a new suggestion right there.
Yeah, I'm gonna send myself an email so I can
He's
talk
going
to
to type
the
that up real quick.
mobile guys.
Look at that. You guys get to participate in beautiful future potential additions to the program.
All right. Okay, what's next?
All right. Onward and upward. Why do temple ordinances not travel with a person who is being merged into another person? Asks Lori.
Why doesn't it?
Mhm.
The answer is it does.
So Lori, maybe it might be best to email Ron with the direct email with the PID.
That would work. I'll mention it again because there could be some new people out here who doesn't put phone GPS on map.
Finish that before you go too much further. We don't want you to forget what you're doing there.
Okay, got that. All right. Let me just run by really quickly for those who haven't had the lecture.
The spiel.
Yeah. Ordinances are never lost. Everyone says they are, but they're not. And let me tell you how we do it. Make it so it never lost. Okay. Hopefully, let me know if you can't see that, because I went with the green here, and I think that's a little lighter
Yeah, I think
color.
you can see it.
All right, so here's P1, that's person 1, and here's ordinance 1. I'll put a bigger one there. Here's ordinance 1, and then here's P2, that's person 2, and ordinance 2. And there's multiple ordinances, but the way we do it is we hook it with a little reference, a little link. The ordinances actually aren't on the person, they're connected to the person, like attaching and detaching sources, okay, or attaching and detaching memories. If this person gets merged into that person, all we do is we add those ordinances here. Ordinance 2 gets added. I need to write it in a different direction. ORD2, is that backwards?
No, it's not backwards.
Ordinance 2 gets added. Looks like
it's a little kindergarten.
Yeah, a little kindergartenness, but I did it upside down sideways. Ordinance 2 gets attached to P1. And P2, as you know, gets archived away and it doesn't show up in the lists. So P1 will have both Ordinance 1 and Ordinance 2, and then we calculate which one is the effective, and we show that on the screen. Now, the calculation of what's effective and putting it on the screen takes a little while, especially on a busy Sunday. It could take 5, 10, 15 minutes or more. And all you have to do is just go back to that ancestor sometime later, hit refresh on the screen, and those ordinances will all look right, okay? So now when you unmerge or restore, it doesn't matter either way, what we do, so that's unmerged or restore means we're taking that away. We're taking it out of P1. And then when we do that, we also take away the reference to the ordinance we put on from P2. And the same thing applies. Once you restore or unmerge, you have to wait a little bit, refresh this guy over here, and then you'll see those ordinances get fixed up again. Okay? So that's how ordinances work. So they don't get lost. And if you merged it and there were ordinances on the other one, you just need to refresh a few times after. It can be up to 10, 20, 30 minutes sometimes. It should all refresh and look great. So if you have more concerns, if you go back to that person, refresh it, and it's not showing the ordinances you think it should, then send me an email, ron@FamilySearch.org, and tell me the right ordinance you think it ought to show and the PID of the person. And I'll go check it out, see what I see.
Okay. Brian says reservation list by person rather than by ordinances would be my preference.
Yeah.
We have been told to participate in all, but I seem to have lots of endowments. If the limit was set by ordinance, would reaching my limit of endowments mean all initiatories I do releases the ordinances?
No. When we're counting, we're not counting. You can have so many initiatories, so many baptisms or anything. It's just total. I don't care if let's say the number's 10, you can have 10 baptisms or 10 or 1 baptism and 5 initiatories.
Right. I guess he's saying if he reserved all these things, he did if the limit was by ordinance, would reaching my limit of endowments mean all of the initiatories related to those endowments? I
think I agree. I think that's just too messy. I think it's by person.
It seems like it has to be, just for sake of psychology. It's driving you nuts trying to figure out, gotta reserve this ordinance and that ordinance, and 5 or 6 for every one.
No.
It just seems crazy to me.
Seems crazy.
Is there a link to the FamilySearch.org/discovery on the homepage?
Not that I'm aware of. But you can just put /discovery on there. I mean, they are looking at putting some discovery stuff on the non-logged in homepage. If you're using that discovery link all the time, then just make a bookmark and click on the bookmark. Most people who need to see those experiences probably don't even have an account, or just barely get an account. So we're looking at doing that when they come to the site and haven't logged in yet.
So Jesse just shared a blog post on the FamilySearch blog. What's new? Map your ancestors.
Yeah, that's a mobile thing.
And she's saying, I hope I'm not implying.
Oh, you're saying it does have the GPS on it already.
Mm-hmm.
Well, there you go. So you can go to the Family Tree mobile app, click the More button on the bottom right-hand corner, select Map My Ancestors, and it'll map all your ancestors, and then you zoom in. It'll map it all over the world. You zoom in, and it says that your GPS location is on the map.
So let's just try it together real quick.
Let's give it a whirl.
So more in the bottom right. I have an Apple phone here, iPhone. So it's there it goes. And then it's the fourth option down from the top, Map My Ancestors. And I have to allow it to use my location.
Your GPS.
And it tells me, yeah, it seems to work. Whoop, okay, it worked pretty good. So I just did it.
And even to zoom in to where you are.
If you can kind of see that a little bit there, folks, it's a little bright. I guess I can turn my brightness down a little bit.
Yeah.
That would help. I don't know if you can kind of see that right there.
Too dark.
Too dark? Too dark. We went too far now. We went too far. Can't turn back now. I've gone this far. I'm not going to give it up yet. Now I'm looking at what Isaac Turley did, apparently. You can look at what each individual does. So maybe like that.
There you go.
You can
so it maps all your ancestors, and in the mix there, you can see that little flashing
Right. So
circle.
if I were to zoom in on my current location-ish area, I mean, we all know.
Not too close.
Yeah, we all know we're in Salt Lake area, so but you can see right there, you see my little flashing location, but what you can see is you can see all of the different locations of different ancestors.
It's all birthplaces and death places.
Right, but what's interesting, even in depth, to go a step further, if I do it again, and let's pick one of our ancestors down south, shall we? So if we scroll down here, who's this? All right, so we did Hiram Turley, and if you can see that, it's moving around the map and telling me where Hiram Turley moved from, lived in, and died at.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, right, Keith. So it's mapping all sorts of stuff. So it'll tell me, and actually, it looks like there's even a
list of it.
Oh, that's cool.
It maps events on the person.
This will work perfect for you, Keith. If you look right down there, do you see right there how it has a little? If you pull it up with me, yeah, I know we haven't ever worried about using app mirroring things to show you. Maybe
the problem with Mirror 360 is that we can't get it. We tried once before to get it to take our screen and show it inside of the live video.
Right. It doesn't integrate well with live videos. It does well, just fine with recorded videos, but we want to have live interaction. So if you just follow along with me and you pull this up, you'll actually see if you push on a specific ancestor, it'll tell you the big events. So there's like birth, death, and burial. And then it actually has a little mapping button. Yeah. So I can just go burial and I hit mapping and it shows me how to drive to his location.
Yeah. Okay. Good.
So pretty dang good. If you ask me, there's your answer.
There's your answer.
Right there, my good sir.
Family Tree app, Map My Ancestors, play with it. You'll see it.
So, Keith, in your instance, when you're traveling, if your kids ask you, hey, Dad, I want to see, are we going anywhere where somebody's at? You can just go look on the map in that general area and see if there's anybody. Or if you're on the road and you're in that area, they want to say, is there anybody around us? You can hit that and it'll show you. And then you can even hit the map.
Make sure you're not driving.
That's right. We don't advocate mapping while driving.
That's right.
But, yeah, that's pretty cool. I actually didn't know that was a feature.
Yeah.
So, good things. Well, we had a bunch of let's see anything like that. No. Okay. All right. On to the next question. Joanne, you're welcome, Keith. Joanne asks, does anyone or anything in memories change when you die? Can your kids then manage your memories when you die?
The only thing, let me tell you what's going to happen here. Today, when someone dies, the memories are all still accessible. The problem is that people can't find them. If they're already attached with people, you can still go in and you can still look at them and stuff like that. But today, only the owner of the memory can edit the data. Well, we're in the process of re-architecting all of that memory stuff, and we're going to allow. Our goal is to allow open edit, like the tree, open edit in memories, but not everything is going to be open edit. Okay, the title, the description, the date, and the place is going to be open edit. But if you write a memory, a story memory, nobody can edit that because that's your story, and nobody else should be able to change your story. Mm-hmm. So that's coming later, but. And also in the plan, as part of that coming later stuff, it could probably happen a little earlier. I've talked to them about this one, is when a person dies, I'd like to put a URL reference to their gallery on their deceased person page.
Okay.
And so the idea being there is if they had memories, then when they die, anybody that can see them could click on that link and go see the memories.
Yeah, like a memorandum or memorial, whatever.
It just has all their memories that they uploaded.
Right, a little gallery, and you can go through it all.
Yeah.
Look at it all.
Right.
Okay.
So that's what we're thinking of how that will work.
I
think we can do the link sooner than the open edit of the stuff, so you can fix things.
I guess I'm going to ask a follow-up question on this because I think that there's going to be a follow-up question in that. You ever considered willing memories to like your children? It's like you could set up a Bennett, like somebody would take over your account.
We've thought about that, but there's a complicated mess in the middle of that.
Sure.
We will it to somebody, now they own it, and it's really, memories are open anyway, so it's
everybody's anyway.
Yeah.
Okay. Guess that answers that. Carl and Lynn ask, how can we download our personal family tree data to Excel so we can sort and filter the data to help us research by either location, last name, birth, or death? We visit a state to do research and struggle to know who lived in that particular area, especially gather all the family names in and around that area. Well, I'm going to add in that the app we just went over would probably be pretty helpful for that. Because you said when you go to a specific area and you want to maybe do some research on them, it'll pull up people that have that information on it. But is there any way to download?
No, we don't have any way to download, put it in a spreadsheet.
Well, I think you're just going to be stuck with manual mode. Little carpal tunnel.
Yeah, that's too much of a mess. I would download it. You might try one of the third-party apps. I don't think they generate
Excel
spreadsheets. Anybody? I don't think Roots Magic or Ancestor Quest or Legacy do. If you know out there, if somebody out there know that, then let me know. But I don't think there's anybody who exports a spreadsheet. But
yeah, I do actually genuinely think that feature in the app might be helpful. Because you could do some research and you can find some basic info on them, and then you can say, well, we're in this particular area and let's see if there's anybody we can do any research on. You tap on that, it shows some people. Oh, well, it looks like this so-and-so's 100 miles away. It says they were buried there, but they don't have any pictures or anything. So then you can go out there and snap a couple pictures of their headstone and upload it and stuff like that.
Okay, so a couple questions on that.
Yeah.
Carl Greenwood said, I'd like to replace memory with a better or new version. Find a cleaner copy. Then what you probably have to do is you have to delete the memory and then upload a new one. But you have to wait till the memory's all the way gone. I think you have to wait 180 days, or there may be a way to empty your delete basket. I can't remember. I haven't done that. And then once it's deleted, then you should be able to upload it again. If not, let me know, because that should work. Pat says, what about when a work clerk enters death dates on my LDS account? Wouldn't my 3 daughters need to merge their PIDs for me to mine? Okay, so what Pat's talking about there is she's living, and her children, assuming 3 daughters, have accounts on FamilySearch. So they've gone in the family tree. So there's 3 copies of Pat. There's her copy. Well, their 3 daughters have copies. And
duplicates.
Then duplicates, and she has an entry in the family tree.
Right.
When the war clerk marks her as deceased, then it will take her home person, which is her account.
Her actual
represents her,
record.
and it will make her deceased. So yes, there'll be 1 copy of deceased and 3 copies of living.
Mm-hmm.
So the daughters then will need to mark their versions deceased and then merge them together.
Right.
But that feels like a lot, but in reality,
it takes a couple minutes.
Well, in reality, each person only does 1.
Yeah.
So let's, I've used this example before. Let's say we have 1 great grandparent. They're alive and they have 10 kids, and all those 10 kids get an account, and each of those 10 kids have 10 kids, and they all get an account, which is like a miracle. Let's say that happens, and then everybody logs in and gets an account. How many copies of grandma would there be? Well, there'd be 100 copies of grandma. And then grandma dies, and so what's the odds that that more than 1 person will mark her dead or their copy dead at exactly the same moment in time? It's 0.
Would never happen.
Impossible. So what happens is 1 person who's really exuberant, marks her dead after she hangs up on the phone, getting an announcement that she's deceased. They go in and they mark her dead in their thing. Well, that person's now there's 2 people that are dead in the tree. One's the membership version. the ward clerk probably hadn't even entered it in yet. So there'd be one dead. And then the next time somebody does it when they get home after a funeral, they mark them dead. That's still only 2 dead. They merge them. Now that's only 1 left.
Right.
Next person marks them dead. So then now they're back to 2 again. They just merge. So each person who has a living copy merges once, essentially.
I mean, I'll tell you from based on experience, when his mother died and his father died, I mean, it was a very simple experience.
Yeah.
I mean, it was just one button for me and I was done. Okay. Now, Jesse and Pat mentioned that there's some you can export historical records to Excel. Pat says that there's third-party apps that convert GEDCOM to Excel. Those are all options you could use. But Cindy asks a good question if you keep going.
Well, I wasn't finished with that other question.
So Karen, let's just say Karen. Let's say my grandpa Pat go up.
Oh, okay. All right, so I'll finish the thing.
Yeah, you did.
Okay, that was Pat's.
Yeah, and then we're on to Karen. Let's say my grandpa passed away. He's a member at one point, but no one knows if his records were taken out all the way. How would we, one, go about finding out where his records would be put and putting the correct death information?
I don't know what one knows if his records were taken out.
I believe it's somebody that's left the church and had their records removed from the records of the church. That's what she's saying. She wants to know if there's
He
any
was
way
a member at one point, but no one knows if his records were taken out 100%. So if you're
did he go inactive or did he have his records removed?
Kevin, tell me what you mean by
Karen.
that. Or Karen, excuse me. I was reading fast.
Karen.
If you mean that he went inactive or something and then died, then usually family members who are active can call up their ward clerk, what ward he's in, and say, hey, he died on this date. And then mark him deceased, and then that will appear in the tree. How would one go about finding out where the records would be to put the correct death information in their person? Well, what'll happen is when you call the clerk and the clerk marks him deceased, then there'll be 1 copy of him in the tree.
I think I understand. If I can add some context, I think I know what she's asking here. So she seems as if I'm not wrong here, Karen, you feel free to comment in again, but I would say it's got to be she's got an uncle that's gone inactive, potentially removed his records from the church, but she's not sure because she never really talked to him about it. But he's passed, so she needs to know whether or not he has records, and if he has records, how does she know where they're at? So I'm wondering if maybe it's a situation where they were maybe in an old
Salt
ward.
Lake. Then you just call Salt Lake. If you don't know what ward is in, you just call Salt Lake and say, I know my grandpa or whoever was a member of the church.
Don't know if he had his records removed or not. But
whether or not he did or didn't, the records will still be there.
Sure.
And then just say he's passed, and I'd like to
notify
notify you that he passed, and they may ask for a copy of the death certificate, and then they'll mark him deceased, support will, and then it'll show up in the tree and probably give you a PID. Otherwise, you just search for him.
Right.
But if it's your grandpa, this one's a grandpa, you're probably already linked to him somewhere. So.
Yeah, she says, no one seems to know if he fully left. He went inactive for sure, but he attended another church since the 80s.
Yeah. So I would call. You can call FamilySearch. We'll help you, or you can call the church directly. Ask for a membership department. Okay.
Cindy asks, when they change ordinances to only 100 reserved, what happens to all the others I currently have reserved? Will I be alerted before this happens?
Yeah, we answered just a minute ago. If you have, this isn't going to happen for some time, and we haven't picked out how many we're going to let you keep. But if you have more than the limit, you'll keep the ones you have. We're not going to take any away from anybody.
But you just won't be able
to reserve any more
until you get below that 100 mark.
That's right. And if you don't get them all done in 2 years, then they'll expire in 2 years. And so you'll eventually, within 2 years, everybody will be down to the limit, right?
Yep.
Okay.
Let's see. Carl says you've talked possibly about grouping sources. Could you group memories from various owners?
Oh, I want to see what Pat was trying to say here. So we should pray our kids don't do genealogy? I don't get that one, Pat. I imagine it's a Joker thing in there somewhere with something I didn't catch. Sorry. Okay. What callings?
No, you're going too far. You're skipping ahead. We still got other ones to answer. Carl says, you've talked about possibly grouping sources. Could you group memories from various owners, multiple versions of the same photo or document of various quality? So
we're
talking about
not-
grouping sources, keep
Yeah,
group memories.
I don't think we're interested in keeping multiple copies of the same picture. That's just redundant. We'd like to keep the best copy. So.
Okay. Brian says, what callings are able to set the indexing goal for the ward?
I don't know if I know that. It would have to be the ward indexer, I would think.
You can always just go ask the ward clerk.
I don't know if the ward clerk would know.
Who sets permissions? Wouldn't it be the clerk that sets permissions?
No.
Let's go to the stake level.
I got to ask that. I got to go figure that out.
All right.
That needs to be sent to me.
Okay.
I don't know off the top of my head who gets to set indexing goals for the ward.
Brian's the winner for asking a stumper.
Well, it's the new indexing thing, so I
Mhm.
don't know how it's doing it. I think it's your ward or stake indexer is what I think it is, but I will double check.
Okay. Now, I'm not sure if this is the same Karen that we just worked with, but Karen says she feels somebody's monitoring her actions on FamilySearch. She thinks she knows who it is. She doesn't believe that we'll believe her and that we'll think she's paranoid. But she doesn't know what to do.
I don't know what monitoring means.
I don't want to read the whole thing because it's kind of. I would think this is potentially. I'm not sure if they've got your username and password, or if you think maybe they've gotten your helper ID. But I feel like the best case and course of action is just to change your password.
Yeah, and someone's monitoring the action. So I don't think. Certainly, they could find your line and wander around your line and see what work you've done by looking at your contact name. So what I would do is, if you're concerned about somebody sort of stalking you through that process, I would do a couple things. I'd change my contact name.
Mhm.
I would not share personal information through my contact card.
Probably
So-
change your password.
So you go to settings, go to contact,
Right.
and change some data. Don't make your email public. Don't make your address public or phone number because you don't want them to know who you are.
Right.
You can change your contact name, so all of a sudden it doesn't look like you. And then what was the other thing you said?
Well, I just said maybe consider changing.
Oh,
your
and you may
password.
want to change your password if you think they're logging in for you. You can also go change your helper pin.
Yeah. How do you do that?
Just go to there's the settings, and then it's the first tab. I think it's I can't remember what it's called. First tab, and in there it has your helper pin. By default, for members, it's the last 5 of your membership number. And so if they know that, then just go ahead and change it. Change it to some other number, and then nobody can help you unless you give them that number.
Right.
That was on purpose. That's how you could have security. If you felt like
Right.
somebody was helping you and you don't want to be helped, you just go
Anymore.
change the number.
Sure.
Okay, try those things.
Yeah.
If you're still feeling uncomfortable, send me an email with more details, who you think it is, and things like that, and we'll get somebody looking into that.
Of course. And we always believe you. We take every one of these situations seriously. I know he does.
Yeah.
It's not something we want to mess around with. We're not looking to make anybody feel as if we don't believe
Or
them.
minimize.
Right. No, this is important. Michael says, how soon is the new person view that shows in beta.FamilySearch going live?
Well, of course this would happen. We didn't really intend to turn it on in beta, but it got turned on in beta. And it accidentally did, and then we decided to leave it there so we could work on it. The intention is, for those who haven't seen, you're invited to go out to beta.familysearch.org. Go look at some people in your tree, and we're working on a new version of the person page, person details page. And the reason why we're doing that is to speed it up. It's too heavy. It's like 3 megs. We're trying to get it down to 1 meg, and we want it to be snappy and everything and working well. And while we're there, we're redesigning some stuff. And it hasn't. The design is old. It's been there for. I don't know, it's been 4 or 5 years now. It's time to refresh it, and we're adding a timeline view so you can have that. We are doing a few other things, adding a map your ancestors in there. A few other things. It's not done, and what you see on beta right now is not what it's going to be. Although because we've done a little testing and some things didn't work, and so we're going to make some more changes. The expectation this will be out sometime before the end of before Thanksgiving. That's sort of the thought. We're not definite, but that's what we're shooting for, sometime before Thanksgiving.
Okay. And remind me, Ron at FamilySearch.org. Right? Is that your email?
Ron at FamilySearch.org. Mm-hmm. Cindy asked, any idea when Temple Today will be on the app? Yeah, I don't know how you knew about Temple Today, but it's not going to be called that, by the way.
People have ways of finding out information.
So what we're looking into, we're testing right now on a selected set of people, a new feature on the mobile app right now that is essentially, I want a name to take to the temple today, and you just push a button and we find a related name for you to take to the temple. If we can't find a related name, we'll give you an unrelated name. And so that the idea being to let somebody have a positive experience every time they go to the temple. Church service missionary, and it was in our devotional. Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So we've told a few, 100 people or so to try it and see how it's working, and it's not working the way we all want it to be. So we're still working on it. Don't have an end date when it's going to be done because we're having to rewrite a portion of it because it just wasn't working like we want. So don't have an answer for you when.
You're on the cutting edge, the bleeding edge.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Rita says, is there any way to stop people from repeatedly adding the same wrong information to the tree on FamilySearch? She gives an explanation of what's going on.
Yeah.
But I think it's pretty self-explanatory.
Well, we have some ideas, but we haven't been able to implement it. One of the ideas we have right now, there isn't, just talk to them and ask them to give you sources and get to know them, because these are your relatives, so talk kindly and ask them if you can give them some help or where they're getting this information from, and say, I want to get to know you better and understand what you're doing. Maybe we can swap information and understand, make this the best ancestor in the whole tree, right, by working together. So be positive and be inviting and see if you can work together. That usually works most times. And one of the features that we have on our list to do, but we don't have it scheduled yet, is when something changes, when somebody changes, you put in something, then somebody changes it, and then they change it back, or they just edit what you corrected. I want to have the ability to be able to say, if they put in exactly the same thing that they put in last time, the thing you took out was exactly like the thing they put in, we can detect that because it's in the change log.
Right.
So I want to pop up a message that said, are you sure you want to put this in?
Because this data was just removed.
Because this data was just removed by so-and-so, and this is the reason they gave why this isn't correct. Are you sure you want to do this? And I think another thing that we want to do is we want to fix notification. So when you watch somebody, I want you to be notified within 5 minutes of it happening. That's another problem. Since you're only getting notified once a week, then it's sort of like done and gone. And I think part of the problem is we're not letting you know right away, so you can get right back out. You were chuckling. What are you chuckling at?
I'm chuckling at Pat. I have the same problem. Despite my copious notes, someone keeps killing off my Uncle Jack.
Yeah, poor Uncle Jack.
Poor Uncle Jack. Well, here's what I'm thinking in the back of my head. I'm going, if Uncle Jack's in family tree and someone else is editing him, he's probably already dead.
No, what's happening is he's probably alive, and they assume he's dead because he's in the 1940 census. So obviously everybody that was in the 1940 census must be dead. Nobody can live that old.
No, absolutely not.
That would mean they would be like 80 years old. Nobody ever gets to 80.
Yeah, and the world's oldest man, like 120 something.
Yeah, I don't know.
Anyway,
we had the same problem for a while with Uncle Orland.
Oh, we did. That's
95
right.
Or something, 94, and people were killing him off right and left too.
Yeah. Carl says, I would like to see a place type and date ranges in FamilySearch, Family Tree, like I see in Memories. Are there plans to add that in the type ahead of standardized places for tree events?
Huh?
It's right there. I would like to see place type and date ranges in Family Tree like I see in Memories.
You can do them. They're the same stuff.
Okay.
I don't know. Does it look differently? It might look differently because they they built a new version, and that would be in the new version we're working on. But you can do date ranges, and you can, when you start typing a place, it pops up a list of places that we're aware of that match. So help me understand why that's not doing what you think it is.
He says, with the place name it gives, the year range and type of place, city, town, etc.
Oh, that's in memories? No, I don't think that's in memories. Is the year range and type of place, city, town? No, you're thinking of a different place. That's not in memories. That's in a special location. FamilySearch.org/places. Research/places. That's where that is, right? Because you don't see this was a town from this date to this date in the tree or in memories. I'm pretty sure. I'll go try it tomorrow or tonight. But I think you're in the places tool, which is FamilySearch.org/research/places.
Right. So, Carl, maybe it might be best to email
let me know.
Yeah. Okay. I'm a volunteer for places. I can see the year ranges and memories now.
I'm a volunteer for places. I can see year ranges.
Is there some kind of beta going on with that? Right?
I don't know. I'm not aware of this.
Michael said that I think they just changed it.
Oh, like today or something?
Potentially.
They didn't tell me about it. I went to the memories
Meeting
rollout today. They're supposed to tell me all the stuff they're putting into the system shipped, and I don't remember that one. Okay.
Okay. Well,
we'll take a look.
You're again on the bleeding edge, and he's just kind of.
We met today, and we spent 30 minutes on it. I don't remember that.
You're gonna have to have a good talking to.
Yes, I will be having a visit with that team. With my team. Okay, what else we got?
Okay. Well, Pat wanted to say that having a pop-up about why it was recently fixed is a great idea.
Yeah.
Excellent idea.
Yeah, I really want that one, but we haven't got to it yet.
I agree. Bob, are our free Ancestry accounts going to expire?
There's no plans to do that, as far as I know. No plans. That doesn't mean that things can change, but currently at this moment in time, there isn't. I know there was some scare out in Get Satisfaction where somebody stated something about that, and because some ancestry person said they were going to go away in a few years, and we're always working with Ancestry to figure out how to get data and how to share data, and but there is currently no plans that we've agreed to or anything that says we're going to do that. So that doesn't mean it won't happen. It just means that there's nothing imminent.
Nothing in the foreseeable future.
Yeah, nothing right now.
All right, Bob asked another one. I love that we can now attach up to 10 pictures into a story in memories. Will we ever be able to arrange them in order we want manually, or do we have to do this when we first attach the photos?
The only thing you get to choose, so right now in memories, the new memories, they recently let out about a week ago or so, a week or two, you can have up to 10 photos to go with a story. And the only thing you can really select is which one is the big one. So it shows one big one and two little ones, and then a little +8 that says there's 8 more, and then you click them and then you see a row of them. And the only thing you can really choose is which one gets to be the big one. So I don't think there's any ordering there. I'll bring that up to my guys to see. The only thing we probably, I don't know, or they want to order by date and date of event, and they would probably be the same date.
Probably,
since it's talking about it, but not at this time. Let's just get the big one right now.
Okay, well, we got 2 more questions, but we've only got about a minute left. I don't know if anything else you want to touch on. You want to run as one more? All right. I work in a FamilySearch affiliate library. Is there any way to mark the collections in some way that when we see them in the affiliate library, we can know that patrons aren't able to see the actual documents in their home? Debbie says, I hate telling patrons that it's available and then realize it's only available because I'm looking in the special library.
Send that one to me.
Okay.
Seems like we ought to be able to do that, but I don't think we show that. Although I think that would be a good thing to show. Because that would be like, this collection is available only in the affiliate and in the library.
Okay. Well, let's just answer the last questions on the right there.
Let's see.
So Monique says, I teach that we should. Scroll up a little bit there. I can pull it up online too. Look at you. Your mouse is dead.
I'll go over here.
Useless. All right. Monique says, I teach that we should attach relevant hints, standardize and resolve duplicates before reserving names for the temple. If someone can take a name in a day from an app, won't that create a lot of duplicates? I get emails from FamilySearch for temple work that are almost always duplicates after I research them.
No, that doesn't cause duplicates, because what we do, she's talking about this, one button to kind of give you an experience. Mm-hmm. What we're going to do for that one button is we're going to look what's on your reservation list. So it's by ordinance. You say, I want some baptism confirmations. Mm-hmm. And it'll look what's on your reservation list and give you those. And then I think we're trying to do, we have a limit. We're going to only give you 3 at a time or 4 at a time. We're still working through that. If those are fulfilled by what's on your reservation list, we're just going to give you that, and then you're done. If we can't fulfill it with your reservation list, then we're going to look at the ordinances you shared with the temple. And if those fulfill the request, then we'll give you those. We'll unshare them back and give them to you. And if it's not already on your list or not already shared, which means it's already been reserved, it's already had its duplicate check, right? Then the next thing we're going to do is look for a green temple somewhere in your line. And when we find one, we're going to do make sure it's outside of the 110, make sure that it has no data problems, make sure it qualifies, make sure that there's no duplicates, and then we'll give it to you. If it has any of those, then we just skip it. So there won't be any more duplicates, because if there's anything the system says has a duplicate, we're just skipping it. We're not going to give it to you. We're going to be smarter. And then as we go on, as we're redoing the temple stuff, remember we were doing it, I guess not here. Somebody sent me a Get Satisfaction and stuff to ask about changing the temple stuff on doing temple districts. But in the future, we want to allow people to be able to take ordinances of their ancestors out of the temple list, even though they weren't the ones that shared it, and put it on their list. We want to do that because a lot of people, they walk their tree and somebody's done a good job and researched a bunch and then reserved a whole bunch and then shared them all to the temple. They want to go now and not, randomly get it out of the temple if they can ever get a name that's a related one. So this tool to go find one automatically in the future will also look in relatives that have been shared to the temple already and give you some of those. Mm-hmm. So we're trying to do everything we always try to do everything we can. So you can argue whether we do it very well or not, but we always try to do everything we can to prevent duplications of ordinances. Okay, let's see.
So what you got left now would be, go down.
Cindy.
Now, somebody already answered that in the group. Okay. You can add that. So it would be like Pat right there, that Pat, and Thomas, if you wanted to.
Yeah, Pat just was mentioning she had to upgrade her paid-for account in order to get a broader set of records than what the free LDS one gives you.
Right, and then she said, can we have the LDS share to FamilySearch tree available to those of us with upgraded accounts?
That is a good question. They'll probably have a freak out if I ask for that. At the very least, Pat, you could have another tree, and then you just take your data from your one tree and attach the record to the other tree. But I'll bring that up with Ancestry. Yeah. Let's see. And then Thomas says that's great. When it'll be available? Well, everybody always asks when it's be available. Not for another. It's probably going to take us a year or more, sometime next year. You're gonna see parts of it start to happen. Okay, and we'll release little bits of it, and then it won't be full functional, but it'll be partially there, but usable. Right. And then you'll see additional add-ons and stuff as we go throughout the year and through next year. So it'll just get better and better as we go. Okay, what else? Is there any last thing?
Sue says they want to have a pop-up message that says check attached resources. But we talked about that earlier. There are plans to potentially add a pop-up message or something similar.
Well, I think Several people have done different things, and one of the things that's been successful is, contacting the people, help them understand why their information doesn't jive, and then going back to the reason statements of the conclusions that they changed, and modify the reason statements to add in addressing the problem that somebody just did. So like they said, you say, where'd you get the data? Oh, I got that data from this website, and it said this and this and this. Well, it's incorrect because of this and this. See right here, this source and this source and this source say different. Oh, I didn't know that. Okay. Then you go back to the reason statement after that conversation and go to change the reason statement and say, don't change this based on information from this website because it's incorrect. And these are the sources that prove that it's incorrect. And people that have done that effort to go back and enhance the reason statement seem to have better success from people going and change it because they see the reason statement when they go to edit and they go, oh, don't take it from that website. Oh, that's where I got my stuff. Oh, okay. I'll leave it alone. Plus, it's a relative that you already talked to and they know that you're watching them.
All right. Cindy's asked it 3 times. She wants to add cremated to the burial location so people don't waste their time looking for a grave.
You can do cremated already. You go down, it's in the other information area, but you go down to other and you can put cremation in the date of cremation.
And you can probably put that for burial as well. Cremated.
No, in burial, just put where he was buried. Where did they take the ashes?
No, what if they didn't take the ashes to anywhere where there's a headstone or grave marker or anything like that?
Threw them out to sea. Thrown out to sea, put in the ocean.
Right. Just
fell
put burial.
Fell off the counter.
Burial, Atlantic Ocean. Burial.
Fell off the counter, whatever.
Fido's stomach.
But you can go down to the other information. You can mark cremation, and that will show up in the other information as cremation.
All right, Monique, you're going to get the last one, and then we're going to stop.
Okay.
You guys are all taking advantage of this. You're taking advantage of our extra time. How close is the search algorithms from the duplicate search going to be changed to the hinting algorithm system?
That's already happened. She's asking when is the possible duplicate search going to the new hinting algorithm has already happened. That happened about a little less than a month ago.
There you go.
And then we seem to have to put in almost all information before we'll find duplicates now. No, it's actually better at finding it, but there's still a rule. You still have to have enough information so that the score of how duplicate it is gets high enough to show in a possible duplicates.
Right. Makes me think of well, he always shares this story, but it's a good story. We have 2 ancestors, one named Martin Henry Tanner and one named Henry Martin Tanner. They died within a day or 2 of each other and were born within a day or 2 of each other. But they are completely separate people.
Yeah.
Completely separate. So you never know. And that's why it's important you gotta strike a balance between needing some information to find those duplicates and just if I type in John, it's gonna match everything.
Remember, possible duplicates we set high.
Right.
It's got to be a 4 or 5 star before we're going to show it as possible duplicate. But you can always click the possible duplicates button on the person page,
and
that'll show you all the way down to 3s and 2s and 3s.
Well, the nice part about that one is you don't have to type it in or anything. You just click the button.
Yeah, just click the button and it finds them. So, yeah, there is a place where you have to do it. Relationships are your best bet. If you enter a relationship, it'll match faster. A date, birth or death date, and a name and a date will do better. And you got a relationship in there, and you'll be pretty good at finding something.
All right. Well, I think that's it.
All right. Thank you very much, everybody. I hope you was enjoyable. Hope this is worth stuff for you today. Worth doing.
Stephanie just asked a question. Right as we're ending, Stephanie. Right as we're ending, she asked a question.
Well, she says, how do I make 2 twins that were born and died on the same day are not duplicates?
Say no on that.
You put in, some people put twin 1 as their first name, and the other one put twin 2 unless they have names, and then you put a not a match link between the 2. You do that by going to possible duplicates by PID. Go to one of them, possible duplicates by PID. Enter in the other twin's PID. And then when it comes up and compares it, you say not a match. And why? They're twins and there were 2 different people.
Okay.
And then that'll make a not a match, and then it won't come up as a possible duplicate anymore.
All right.
Okay. Thank you very much for everything you do. Yeah, Jesse did too. Mark them as not a match. Thank you for everything you do. Hope you enjoy it tonight. Hope we'll be able to answer your questions. Keep those questions coming. Tell others about this so that they can get their questions answered. I want everybody to be able to get their questions answered and know what's coming.
Absolutely.
Our next scheduled appointment is already an event inside of Facebook.
Yes, it is.
And it's the 19th, I think is what it is.
Yep. Yep.
19th of July, the next time we're meeting. And thank you very much and have a good evening. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Yeah, you got to do a couple mouse clicks.